when your country is falling apart, one of the ways you hold it together is to go on a crusade.
What parallels you see between Trump and Hitler?
It is as inappropriate to equate Hitler to Trump as it is not to see that Trump is under very similar pressures and is making some similar moves. This morning's headline was that President Trump has appointed Vice President Vance to remove from the Smithsonian Institute the anti-American improper ideology. What the hell is that? You know what the first thing comes to my mind? In the 1950s here in America, we had something called the Un-American Activities Committee in the House of Representatives that hounded people out of their jobs and their positions because they held views that a collection of congressmen, many from the South, held to be un-American. Now, we've come to regret that. That's McCarthyism, and but that's what they did. If and when Mr. Trump were to mobilize his partisans, the Proud Boys, folks like that, put them in a uniform the way that Hitler did, and have them terrorize anybody who has a meeting to get rid of the un-American improper ideology. Now it's a Smithsonian. Tomorrow it'll be what? A rally in Times Square? We already are picking up people whose crime seems to have been that they participated in anti-Israel or pro-Palestinian activities at various universities. We understood nothing. We're just doing it again. Germany, at the time Hitler takes power, had extremely well-organized, very powerful left wing. Half the country were in the socialist or communist parties. These were parties that had armed detachments to fight in the streets, and they were disciplined in many ways, particularly the Communist Party of Germany. Our left is out to lunch. There are no organizations even remotely comparable. Is it therefore easier for fascism to come here in some ways? You bet. You bet. For the last 30 to 40 years in this country, there's been an income and wealth redistribution. We have moved wealth from the bottom and the middle in this country to the top. That's why even our candidates talk about the middle class is dying, the middle class is going. Yeah, that's right. The middle has fallen out, number one. Number two, you subjected them to a pandemic, which really shook them up, an inflation, which shook them up, still shakes them up, and a serious diminution in your position in the world. You lost the war in Vietnam, you lost the war in Afghanistan, you lost the war in Iraq, and you are losing the war in Ukraine. Too many things are happening. And the working class is hit in too many ways. It's upset, it's angry, it doesn't see a way out. That's a description of the German working class. That's why it went with Hitler, to give him the chance to get rid of all of his enemies and reshape Germany. That ought to strike a chord. Look at Mr. Trump. I'm going to take back the Panama Canal. I'm going to take Greenland away from Denmark. I'm going to take Canada away from the Canadian. What? Why would a leader now, having attacked Russia for 3 years relentlessly for taking Ukraine, suddenly become the advocate of taking territory? What the hell? What? Hitler attacks everybody. It's crazy. How is Germany going to fight Russia, Poland, the West? What are you, nuts? Yeah, afterwards, that's how we talk. But at the time, he's solving problems. Step by step, and his rationale is kind of, if you look at it honestly, I don't like Hitler, obviously. Most of my family was killed by the fellow, not his part. But I understand what he was doing. I understand what Mr. Trump is doing. I think the usefulness of the exercise is to learn something from understanding it, to be more strategically adept at avoiding the worst outcome. Hitler, Trump is no Hitler. I got that. I agree with you about that. But he's under pressures that in one case led in that direction, and there are sure as hell signs that in this case, there are also some of them leading in that direction. Will they be strong enough? Will they engender a counter reaction? Who knows?